What makes you take action? Is it measurable? And what I mean by that is, how are you going to know when you've achieved your goal? Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, thank you so much for joining. I'm going to be putting together a couple part series of how to get prepared for 2021. So 2020 has been a bit of a year, and I think a lot of us, it's fair to say, did not achieve the goals that we initially set out to achieve before knowing that this entire year was going to be consumed by a global pandemic. So I want to go ahead and say, instead of that typical hustle and grind mentality, we're going to be looking at really sustainable and actionable goal setting and taking a step back in line with the kind of slow pace that this year has been, to make sure that we're really having a think about what we want to achieve before hitting the reset button and going full steam ahead into the new year. Now, the reason I'm making this video now is because I really like the idea of taking the pressure off that real December to January transition of, trying to set goals while really just wanting to enjoy your time off in the holidays. So I like to really get organized early, and I've always been like this. I'm a very much a to-do list kind of girl. So I'm going to show you a few helpful tips on how I get organized, how I break down my goals into little micro goals and very achievable and actionable things, and how I kind of plan out my year using a few helpful items, which I'm going to show you, and also just strategies to make sure that I'm actually really enjoying the process of achieving certain goals that I've set myself, while also just feeling a sense of accomplishment or being okay if I fail and things don't exactly go to plan. My absolute favorite thing about it coming into a new year is getting a new diary. So I found this gorgeous pale blue one from Kmart. It's got these quite cool minimalist letters along the front, and as you can see, it's quite like a thick binder style one, and it's in this pale blue faux leather, which will probably get really grubby by the end of the year, knowing me, but it looks really nice and pristine at the moment. So I'll show you what it's got. This initial part here has a little flap with some card holders in it, where you can put some of your information or maybe a passport or something if you're traveling around. And then it's got all of these tabs with the months of the year in it. And what I really love about the format of this diary is it includes a couple of days of last year, and that is called week 1, which is the week over the new year. So this is the format. It's got each day broken down on this side, and then on this side there is a section of weekly goals, to-do list, notes, a dinner plan, and any urgent tasks, and a couple of tick boxes that you can check off as well. So I really love this kind of format of diary. And right in the back, it's got a large fold out 2021 planner as well, which comes with it. So I do have the wall calendar that I kind of prefer, but I just think this is a really cute diary, and it's very, very motivating to me to write down a lot of my things in here. And this one is the one that goes with me in my handbag and I carry around. So first topic is, how do we actually set goals? And I don't mean just writing down on, a chalkboard or something, a giant goal that you have, and then getting really disappointed when you just have poor time management and don't get to it, or if you just don't end up achieving that goal because it may have really just been beyond your reach, or you didn't kind of have the right resources to dedicate to it at the time. So how I usually set goals is I like to develop a theme for the year. So my theme for 2021 is going to be growth. And I really do mean that in the broad sense of the word. I think for me, I've had a lot of opportunities come up recently. And the one thing I noticed is, in years gone past, I would have been too scared to have them, or didn't really want to partake in anything else than what I was already dealing with. But now that I feel like I'm in a really good place, I don't want to miss out on opportunities when they come up, because I have to pass them up if I'm not prepared to take on, extra work or a fitness goal or any of these other things that I'm trying to squeeze into my already busy schedule. So I really do think that setting a theme for yourself will kind of really inform the goals that you're going to achieve for that year. And that doesn't mean that your goals can't be longer term goals that might be, for the following year or way down the line. But it just means that we're really just focusing on one area of your life or one kind of subject that's going to really just start pushing you on a completely different trajectory and kickstarting your 2021 to be whatever you want it to be. So that is my first recommendation. I think if you can get a notebook or a journal of some kind and just in huge writing, write down your theme word, and then just start thinking about some of the actions that you could take around this word. So for example, my theme word is growth. So I would label that as experiences which are essentially uncomfortable but push me to, a new phase. For example, if that was growth in terms of a health goal, it might be trying a different kind of training. So I recently was at a gym and now I'm taking on Pilates because I had a different type of body goal and I just want to really take that in a new direction and see where I go. So that is my new resolution so far in that area. And it's not something I'm comfortable with. I really do like just going to the gym and smashing out a session where I know how to use all of the equipment. I know a few people who are there. So going to a new gym and trying something new that I'm kind of terrible at and I don't know anybody, and it's really just a very uncomfortable, experience until you get used to that as part of your routine. So that is definitely one for me, and it's really just things that push me out of my comfort zone. So initially how I aimed to just start tracking some of my goals was I went to Kmart, which is just a retailer we have here in Australia, and I bought this cute pink binder, and in it I just put a book which I've started writing down some notes in, and it's just kind of my mind map really of what I'm thinking about and how I want to organize it. And in terms of the organization, I then have this whole bunch of tabs here. So this will form a bunch of different sections, which could be health goals, financial goals, any career goals or side hustles that I kind of want to start integrating. And it's really just a giant scrapbook, honestly, because I think a lot of the time what prevents us from exploring an idea is that sense of not feeling like you're good enough, or just wondering how you're even going to get started. So I just think if you have these sectioned off binders, anytime you have an idea or you find something, even if it's just like a brochure or a newspaper clipping or something, you can throw it into that section of the file and just come back to it when you're ready to start taking action. And the last one is, again, I just found these colored document wallets and they have zippers on the side of them. So same thing, it'll just be a section where I can put any necessary information or, little cutouts or inspirational pictures and things. And when I'm ready, I can make a mind map or, a vision board out of whatever I've collected. So that is my key tip if you really want to feel motivated and get started. And all of this together, I think, cost me about $10 to put together. So it's next to nothing to just have a binder where you can really get started and mud map a bunch of your ideas. The next item I want to show you is this miniature little whiteboard that I got. So it's got a couple of magnets, came with a marker, and as you can see, it's quite small, and that's because this is specifically going to be my goals and theme board. So I'll have my theme word of growth written up here, and I'm just going to have 2 or 3 goals for my year that are really achievable, and this will help me check in and update how I'm going, what kind of actions I've taken towards that. And you can display this privately or in your home if you don't want your friends to be seeing whatever your goals are going to be. But I just find this is a really great tool because the benefit of having a whiteboard is nothing is set in stone. You can obviously just rub things out if they start to become not really aligned with where you want to head to, or you can add new things on. Maybe you've had some extra time to take on new goals, or you just get given an opportunity that pushes you in a completely different direction. So I really like the idea of not having really fixed goals, because sometimes life just gets in the way or things come up that are too good to say no to. So it's really good to be flexible in what you're hoping to achieve. So if you're thinking you might want to try to-do lists, I also got this one from Kmart. This is a notepad set. And within this, it is full of these tab sticky notes up the top here. There's some other types of sticky notes. This one's just a natural paper looking. This one's a grid, a colorful one to grab my attention. And this is just a small notepad. And then on this side is my to-do list. So I really love to rip these sheets off and carry them around with me. And that is a huge recommendation of me if you're someone who can work well with checklists, is just to get something like this, but then also use those sticky notes and tabs to mark out pages in your notebook or to leave yourself reminders around your house so that you can start tracking your goals. That's where accountability comes in, because if you have the right motivation to achieve a certain goal, you're still going to need to hold yourself accountable if you don't get there, or if you're not hitting certain milestones that are required along the way to push you in the right direction. So I think that it's great to keep checking in, even with yourself, in the same way that, when you're working on a project with work, you might have to meet up with a team, and let's just say it's a group assignment and you turn up every week and you haven't done anything. Your team would start to get pretty angry with you and they would be thinking that you've dropped the ball. So I think that keeping a big calendar, and I've just got this one, this is a large 2021 monthly calendar, and this can get hung up on my wall. So I am going to set either weekly or monthly check-ins with myself where I assess where I'm at with certain goals and certain actions. So I really do love these for generally organizing my social life as well, because it's just like something you can hang up on the wall, and it's a really great visual reminder if you have a terrible memory like me. And yeah, I just think if you pick a certain day of the month, let's say the 7th day of every month, and that's going to be your day where you set aside an hour and just think, right, how can I check in on all of my original goals, my theme, some of my actions? Maybe you even make this an action day where you go and try a new experience or meet up with somebody else who's also tracking their goals. And I just think holding yourself accountable in that way is going to give you a really great sense of accomplishment when it comes to the end of the year. And even just in the sense that you showed up for yourself 12 times during the year and dedicated that amount of time, like even just that solid 12 hours to reassessing and trying to achieve your goal. And there's really a lot to be said for the type of person who doesn't cancel plans. You know what I mean? You don't want to be a flaky friend. So don't be flaky for yourself either, because you at the end of the day are number one, and you are in control of what kind of goals you're setting and how you're going to get there. So nobody else is going to help you with this. It's all on you. So I think if you can really just hold yourself accountable and make some time for what you want to get out of this year, then you'll be right on track. You'll also notice in the format of this particular calendar, it's got a section for goals, notes, and a to-do list. So I think this is a really great calendar. I will link it down below if you're interested in getting your hands on it. But it was very affordable, and I really like that I could be breaking down my goals into monthly micro goals as well, or even just tracking my progress as to where I've gotten with a certain health goal or career goal or anything like that. Now, something really important to keep in mind in terms of goal setting is it measurable? And what I mean by that is, how are you going to know when you've achieved your goal? Like, is it a certain weight on the scales? Is it going to be that you have met a partner? Is it going to be a certain financial goal, like saving 10K? Like, whatever that thing is, it's really great to have a measurable goal so that you can understand when you've actually got there. It might even be something like reading 5 self-development books. Well, as you go through each one, you know that you're getting a certain percentage closer to the end of your goals. So I think having things that help you to track your goals are really handy as well. So for my food and exercise, I've got this little journal, again from Kmart, and I really love the format of this. So I'll show you a typical week. I filled some out, so I'll find a blank one. But this one is the food side. So it breaks it down into breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, and a daily kind of journal of that. It also has a section for water and total calories if you happen to be someone who's tracking that. For me, I am going through a little bit of a health journey and I just want to shake a couple of the last kilos. So tracking calories to make sure I'm in a calorie deficit is quite important for me, but I also really believe in intuitive eating and just listening to my body. So I keep this journal so that I know on what weeks did I feel good as well. And I've just been taking note of that. And that has to do with what my food intake was, what my water intake was, and what kind of exercise I was doing. Because I think knowing exactly what I did, how often, and what I was fueling my body with really gives me a sense of like, hey, that week you were really on track and you were feeling really great, as opposed to another week where I might have hit a certain weight loss goal but felt really lethargic. So I'm aiming for a really holistic kind of healthy balance with that. And that's where this exercise side comes in. So I will provide some screenshots of this if you guys are interested, but basically it just goes through the week, your goal for the week, what kind of training you did. So for example, if it was cardio, chest, back, legs, if you train in that kind of way, what the intensity was. If you have a fitness tracker like an Apple Watch, you could input the calories burnt, and even other things like how your flexibility is going, which I think is a huge goal of mine, to kind of get back into adding some stretching and yoga and real kind of stress release exercises as part of my wellness, if you will. I don't really want to say health and fitness journey because I think we're a little bit beyond that. We've had a year. So I really want to look at how I can approach that as a whole thing in terms of wellness instead of just, I want to hit a certain number. Something else that's super cute that I love about this journal is it says, how did you feel? Amazing, good, so-so, tired, injured, or oops, I didn't even train at all this week. And you know what? That's fine. Like I said, we're here to listen to our bodies, and you want to be able to enjoy every step of the process and not just feel like you're torturing yourself and exercising, you know, because you're on a tight time frame. So I love this little journal and I would definitely recommend it if health is one of your goals for 2021. Another key subject that I think a lot of us are probably focusing on a little bit more now we've had some time at home is budget. So I bought this other little journal. It's a budget planner, and truth be told, I haven't really ever paid that much attention to my personal budget before. I am lucky enough to work full-time at a very reliable architectural firm, and I feel like I'm on quite a comfortable salary now. I live in an apartment by myself, and for years I was share housing, so my rent is a little bit more expensive these days. When I initially got that job 2 years ago, I also bought a new car, which I'm still sending out some repayments on. And yeah, I've always felt like I really do try and live within my means. But I am one of those girls that really does love a little bit of online shopping, and I think there are so many expenses that are just flying out of our account, like an afterpay or groceries, and I would really like to kind of track that and just see where I can cut down on my spending a bit, because I'm now getting a little bit more conscious as I get older of wanting to top up my savings account. So yeah, I think any kind of tool that can help me do that is excellent. So without being a real stickler and doing this every single week, I just think my aim is to kind of do a monthly check-in. So it does say Monday to Friday, and it sort of has a description of the expense and the dollar amount, and then what you plan to spend and what you ended up spending and what you've been able to put away in saving. So now I want to talk about what makes you take action. And that is so different for all of us. I am a very highly self-motivated person. So I get really inspired when I hear other people talking about something they've achieved, and I really just want to take action immediately. Whereas I know some people are a little bit less on the risk taker side, and you really want to assess whether something is right for you and do a little bit more research and dig a little deeper before kind of taking action. So that's why I asked that question, what would make you take action? Because I think it's really good to look at past examples of when you were really highly motivated and what the reason was behind that. So for example, for me, I love to-do lists, and I really enjoy the feeling of ticking things off or crossing something out as I've finished it. So a checklist for me is a great motivator. I think that maybe some people work towards incentives. For example, if it's a fitness challenge, are you going to take yourself on a holiday when you finish and you get to that end goal? Or will it be having a really delicious cheat meal on a night out? Or is it a financial incentive or something else that when you achieve a certain goal that you are rewarding yourself in that way? There could also be peer support. For example, you might be working with a friend to achieve a similar goal and you guys constantly check in with each other, and maybe they are your 6 a.m. gym buddies, so you don't want to let them down and you end up getting up every single day as opposed to trying to do it all by yourself. And maybe it's just looking at some courses. So for example, I love Udemy. It is an online course program where you can download courses on almost anything, and they range from like free to, $7 to $15 upwards to a couple of $100 or a couple of $1,000, depending on the subject and level of, professional training you're looking to achieve. So I really think that looking into someone who's set up a course that you can step through in your spare time as well is really great. Maybe you also want to engage a professional. So for example, if your diet is a real concern, then you set up an appointment and go and see a nutritionist, or, maybe hire a PT or a life coach and do a couple of sessions with them to really kickstart your goals. So whatever it is, I think it's really good to just find out what works for you, because that's going to mean you're turning up consistently. If you are trying to just go with the status quo and, follow what other people are doing to get them motivated, it's not necessarily going to help you achieve your goals. Like if someone just says, get up every morning and go to the gym, and you just fucking hate working out in the morning, don't do it. It's just not going, it's going to set you up for failure. And if you happen to be a real evening gym person, then just make that your goal and kind of try and block out a bit of the noise about what you could or should be doing. Another really great way to do this is to copy someone who's already doing it. And this is a kind of mirroring technique that my partner has taught me through his NLP training. And that kind of is talking about something along the lines of, imagine there's an amazing concert standard pianist and you want to get better at playing piano. Well, maybe they did countless hours of practice or study and whatever it was to try and get there, or watching various videos of incredible piano players, or, maybe there is someone who's achieving your fitness goals and they have a YouTube channel. So you could go over and watch a bunch of their videos about what they eat in a day, what kind of training they do, and try and copy that and see if that works for you. And that's where we fall back to our measurable goals. It's finding actions you can take, taking those actions and then tracking to see if they've worked for you. And if not, just reassessing and finding somebody else that you might be able to lean on and copy from as well. Another incredible source of information is podcasts. I am sure all of you guys have a couple of favorite podcasts or influencers you follow on Instagram. So I would definitely highly recommend reassessing who you follow and finding some that are really inspirational and motivating for you in the new year. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this has really helped you get motivated to set your 2021 goals. And if you guys come up with your theme word, then please drop it in the comments below. I'd love to read what you're thinking. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.